Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're here with another really exciting weekly reading vlog because it's in collaboration with one of my favourite booktubers of all time. How this happened, I have no idea, but it's just very, very exciting. This booktuber in particular, we have so much in common when it comes to books. We both love really heavily character-driven books. We both love contemporaries. I found her channel about 6 or 7 months ago, right at the beginning of lockdown, and I followed her because we have similar reading tastes, so I knew I was going to get great book recommendations from her. And I haven't said her name yet, and that's Emily from A Little Writer M. She's just incredible. I'll leave her channel down below. Go check her out if you have similar reading tastes to me. You'll have similar reading tastes to Emily. I 100% guarantee it. Definitely go do that. But we just have really, really similar reading tastes. The books that I was given 5 stars, she was given 5 stars. The books that I discovered from her and that she recommended, I was given really high ratings. We just have really, really, really similar reading tastes. So we're doing a collaboration where we read each other's favourite books because we want to put that to the test. Do we really have that similar reading taste, or is it just fluke? So we're putting it to the test and we're reading each other's favourite books in our own weekly reading vlogs. So go check out her channel and her video to see what books she reads, which are my favourites, and see if she gives them 5 stars. And over on my channel, I'm going to be reading 3 of her favourite books of all time and 3 of her favourite books of 2020. I actually chose out 6 and got Emily to pick because I couldn't pick 3 out of the 6 that I had purchased or had on my TBR already. So she helped me kindly pick out 3 books. Those 3 books being Head Over Heels by Hannah Orenstein, Pretending by Holly Bourne, and After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid's After I Do. It's actually one of her favourite books of all time, so I'm very, very excited to get to this. This is basically about a couple who have been married for a very long time and they want to take a break away from each other because they're kind of on the brink of their marriage and they're going to try and save it, so they take a year apart. There are no rules apart from they can't contact each other, so anything kind of goes. I've read a book similar to this called The Break by Marion Keyes. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't all that great, but I really enjoyed how raw and real the characters were in their life situations because not all marriages are perfect. Movies and books really kind of put that pressure on people in relationships to make things perfect, but that's not real life, and I think The Break by Marion Keyes really hit that, and I'm expecting Taylor Jenkins Reid's After I Do to really hit that sort of topic as well. I'm really, really excited to delve into this one. And the next book I'm reading in this week's reading vlog is actually one I've already started, and that's Head Over Heels by Hannah Orenstein. This is incredible already, and I'm only halfway through. I'm hoping to actually finish it today. This book is incredible, amazing. I knew it was going to be because it's one of Emily's favourite books of 2020. It has gymnastics in it, it's contemporary, like it's ticking all my favourite boxes. So yeah, I knew I was going to love this one, and it's not disappointing me so far, and it's just incredible. This book basically follows a coach called Avery who was going to become an Olympian until she had a knee injury and she had to kind of stop her career in gymnastics. So she became a coach instead. When her relationship breaks up in LA, she moves back to her hometown and becomes a coach in her old gymnastics club. She falls for another coach while she's training this future Olympian. Not only is it a cute romance, it hits some really, really important topics. The author actually writes in her author's note at the beginning that about the Nassar trial and all the sexual assault that's happening in USA gymnastics and gymnastics worldwide. And it does feature that in this book in a fictional way as well, so just be wary if that's something of a trigger warning for you. If you're looking for a cute romance that you want to just keep turning the pages, I highly recommend this one already, and I'm only 150 pages in. I predict it's going to be a 5 stars for sure. And then the final book I'm going to be picking up this week is Pretending by Holly Bourne. I love Holly Bourne anyway, but I've only read her YA books, so I'm really, really excited to see how her writing translates into adult fiction. I'm not too sure what this one's about, to be honest, but Emily loves it. I'm gonna love it. If this experiment goes according to plan, all the books I'm gonna read this week are gonna be 5 stars. This week is gonna be 3 5-star books. I guarantee it. I'm so excited to delve in to all of them and finish off Head Over Heels today. I'm just so excited. This is like one of my dream collaborations. I'm just reading books I'm absolutely gonna love, and it's just gonna be an all-round brilliant week, and I'm very, very excited to get started. This isn't gonna be the typical reading vlog. I'm not gonna be doing montages. I'm just gonna come on here and talk about my thoughts and feelings of the books in comparison to how Emily feels about them. I'm going to watch her video, see what she says about the books I'm going to read, see if we have same thoughts, whether we agree or disagree with the things that are happening in the book, etc, etc. But if all goes according to plan, it's going to be 3 5 stars for sure. So I'm hoping she loves the books that she's reading, which are my favourites. Go check out her channel and her video if you want to see what she's reading. And I predict that all the books I'm going to read this week are going to be 5 stars. So join me on this journey and we'll see for sure. We'll test out the theory that me and Emily have 2 similar reading tastes for it to be real, basically. So yeah, let's get going. I'm so excited for this week. Hi guys, it's now Monday and yesterday I did actually manage to finish Head Over Heels, so I just wanted to come on here and discuss my feelings. I loved it, I gave it 5 stars, it was amazing. It definitely helps that I have such a passion for gymnastics when it comes to this book. I just love everything to do with gymnastics, so a book about gymnastics was going to hit the spot with me anyway. I loved the writing style. Hannah Orenstein made me fall in love with the characters from the first page. I really felt that they were real. At the end of the book, I really wanted to see the gymnast win medals and go to competitions. I felt so deeply connected to the characters and I just felt that they were so real, and that's down to Hannah Orenstein's writing. The romance was gorgeous as well. I really felt that the main character Avery really knew herself. She knew what she wanted and she knew that she wanted to go get it. It didn't kind of matter what kind of came in her way, that she was so determined to go after what she wanted, and the romance didn't hinder that at all. She still felt like an individual character. She never felt dragged down by the romance and her romantic relationship with the other coach. And the one thing that I really truly did love about this book was there was no miscommunication in this book whatsoever. If there was issues, the characters sat down and actually spoke about it. You don't get that in YA very often. So it was very pleasant to see that, and it just made for such a more realistic story and just made me not get frustrated during reading this, hence the 5 stars. I couldn't fault it. It was absolutely amazing. Obviously there is trigger warnings in this for sexual assault, mental abuse, eating disorders, and all the negative side effects to elite gymnastics. As I said yesterday, I think I said it yesterday, Hannah Orenstein writes at the beginning of this book about the Nassau trials in American gymnastics, and Hannah actually touches on this in a fictional way throughout this book, so if that's a trigger warning for you, just please be aware that it does feature heavily because it is about elite gymnastics, and Hannah spoke about real sensitive topics that actually happen in the world, and unfortunately that is one of them. So that does come up, and it is kind of like a plot point in the story that is very important and I think really well discussed. I just absolutely adored this book. It was absolutely brilliant. So those are my thoughts on it, but let's see what she has to say, if we have the same thoughts and feelings.
But this is not just a romance. In fact, I would say the romance is, if you're looking for a book that's entirely about a romance, that's not what you're going to get.
Yeah, like Emily said, you're going to get a lot more than a romance in this book. If you just want a cute, fluffy romance, this book is definitely not for you. It hits some really, really important topics that need speaking about, and this book definitely touches on those topics. It's not a fluffy, cute, contemporary. It hits some really important topics.
I also have never read about gymnastics, but I loved reading about gymnastics. I don't think you have to know anything about it to go into it because it's so well explained. Like, very technical things are well explained. I love reading about all of the leotards that they wear and the glitz and the glamour. And I just loved that team feel and that determination that the athletes had to...
Yeah, that's what I was saying as well. The way Hannah Orenstein wrote about gymnastics, even if you have no clue what any gymnastics moves are, they're so easily explained in the book. Like Emily said, reiterating on that you can have no idea what gymnastics is and be able to follow along and understand everything to do with this book, gymnastics related. I think that's down to the excellent writing of Hannah Orenstein for sure.
It was one of those books where you just can't put it down, but at the same time you really want to savor it because you know that this is a reading experience that you're not going to have like that many of because it's so unique. I definitely want to read more about gymnastics now. I definitely want to watch gymnastics. It's completely inspired me. I'm definitely going to pick up more of Hannah Orenstein's backlist because I love her style of writing. It's very easy to get through and she creates these characters that you root for and these connections between characters that you just adore. So I really, really love this. This one was definitely 5 stars for me.
Same. agree with absolutely everything she says. I think I said everything that Emily mentioned at the beginning before I watched her video. I'm on to book 2 now, After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I'll come back again once I finished it, and we'll do the same sort of thing where I tell you about my thoughts and then we'll watch Emily's thoughts and we'll compare and contrast. But so far, with Head Over Heels by Hannah Orenstein, we agree on absolutely everything. The rooting for the characters, how well written they were, the writing style, how much fun it was to read about gymnastics, the determination of the characters, the fact that it's not only just about friendship and relationship, it's about so much more, like Emily said, an issue-based romance. Hands down, perfect, amazing. I definitely recommend picking it up. On to book 2. Hi guys, I'm back finally. It's actually been a week since I last updated you because it took me a lot longer to get through After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid than originally thought. You know when you are enjoying a book, because I did enjoy this book, I gave it 4 stars, but you just don't have that urge to constantly pick up and read and turn the page. That was the issue with this book, unfortunately. I gave it 4 stars. I did really enjoy it. I loved Lauren as a main character. I enjoyed the sister bond between her and her sister Rachel. Always helps when a character is named after you, that's for sure. Not after you, but has the same name as you. Pretty cool. And I really enjoyed the family in this. The family was just so close, and you had a mix between sister friendship, you had a mix between brother friendship, grandparent relationship, as well as mother relationship. And I just think the family dynamic in this was so unique and just really well written about, and I did really enjoy Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing style. Once I read it and I started going and I'd read a couple of pages, I couldn't stop reading it. It was so easy to get through. It was just that immediate urge to pick up I never really had, so it took me longer to get through than anticipated. But unfortunately, I just don't think this kind of trope works well for me. I don't think I gel with it very well. This is about a main character called Lauren, who's been in a relationship with her high school sweetheart or college sweetheart for about 11 years, and they've been married for 6. And they come to a point in their relationship where they're no longer happy, so they decide to take a break to see if a year-long break can fix what's wrong in their relationship. And they spend a year apart, and you follow Lauren on this journey of rediscovering herself, being a single woman rather than being attached to a relationship that she's always known. Like, all she's ever known is being in a relationship and being with this one person. She hasn't really ever explored other things, being single. So she takes this year to explore not only herself, but herself with other people as well. As well as like her relationship with her family. She feels like that's kind of been put on the sidelines while being in relationship with Ryan, and she really gets to spend time with her family. And it was such a wholesome read when you spent time with Lauren and her family. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, but I just don't think that kind of trope where characters are together and then realise they need to spend time apart is really for me. I've read a couple of books like that now, and none of them have really hit the spot. I really enjoyed it. It just, you know, when you read a book and you just know if it's a 5-star or not, I didn't get that with this book. Whereas with Head Over Heels, I like immediately from the first page was like, this is going to be a 5 stars, and it was. I just didn't get that with After I Do, unfortunately. I still really enjoyed it. I just think I had really high expectations because I know it's Emily's favourite book of like all time, so I just went in with it with a really high standard and really high bar to reach, and unfortunately it didn't reach it. But I did love the writing style of Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it's made me intrigued to read more of her books with a trope that I kind of like a bit better, I want to say. So yeah, a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to other people if you love characters, because it's a very character driven book like me and Emily love. That's one thing we have massively in common, is character driven books. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It just unfortunately didn't give me that like fuzzy 5-star feeling. But without further ado, let's see what Emily has to say about her favourite book of all time.
I love that this book explored the many variations and outlooks that you can have on love. So you have Lauren, who is really romantic and she wants to have that happily ever after with Brian. And then you've got her sister. I love the bond between Lauren and her sister. I think it's so lovely.
Yeah, the bond between Lauren and her sister was impeccable. It was so wholesome. I absolutely loved it. I agree with Emily when she mentions it explores different areas of like of love. Her grandma is very traditional, and you fix your marriage, you don't take breaks, you work through it, sort of thing. And then Rachel is very uncertain, which is Lauren's sister, of her kind of outlook on how she wants to spend her life. She isn't keen on marriage, she isn't keen on kids, whereas Lauren is very traditional like her grandma, but she thinks her taking a break with Ryan is the best thing to go and best way to step forward to make their relationship work. And it does, like Emily says, explore a lot of different avenues that you can take with your relationship and making it work for you, and it's such an individual thing.
I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed their outlooks on life, I love the beginning, middle and end, and it's a book I think about a lot. And I think if you want to read a romance that is a little unusual and will make you really consider romance and all the different versions of it, then this is perfect for you. It's a book that will stay with me for a long time, and I will be rereading this well into the future. So also, how cute is that cover? It's really lovely. So this is my favourite book of the year. So these are all my favourite books.
So a quick kind of overview for Emily. She doesn't delve too much into her thoughts and feelings, so I'll be intrigued to talk to her individually and see what she actually has to say. But I think when it comes to this book, we both enjoyed the same aspects of it, just like Head Over Heels. But every book is obviously very personal to individuals, and for me, it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling, and that's okay. I still obviously value Emily's reviews and thoughts and feelings of books, and I definitely still obviously go to her for recommendations because I know we have such similar tastes. The reasons we both loved After I Do was for the same reasons. So the characters, the writing, the sisterly bond, the family dynamic, all of that we still both loved about the book. It just, that 5-star is very subjective, and if you feel it, you feel it. If you don't, you don't, and that's kind of what I love about reading. Obviously everyone has such different opinions on books. Those are my thoughts on After I Do. I'm going to be going into my last and final book of this reading vlog. Hopefully we can wrap it up soon, because obviously it's going on longer than I anticipated. It's now been a week and I was expecting to read all 3 books in 1 week. That hasn't happened, and that's okay. I'm going with the flow. Sometimes things don't work out the way they're meant to be. That's a friend's quote. Yes. The final book I have to read, this is just a dust jacket, is Pretending by Holly Bourne. I do love Holly Bourne's young adult books. I've never read an adult book of hers. I've actually read the first chapter and it grasped me already. It was all about the reasons why we hate men, and that was just brilliant to read about. So I'm very, very intrigued to read the rest of that book. Hopefully I can get it done this week, but I'll be back with another update with you and to wrap up this vlog once I've finished this bad boy. Yay. Okay, see you later. Ah! Hi guys, we're finally back with my last update for this reading vlog. It's gone on a lot longer than anticipated, but it's fine because I enjoyed every little second about reading all these books, so I can't really complain too much. The last book I have to talk about is Pretending by Holly Bourne. I went into this book knowing absolutely nothing about it. All I knew was that Emily loved it, so I picked it up. I kind of don't really need to know anything more about books that Emily recommends apart from she loves them, so that's the whole point of this video. If she loves them, I'll most likely love them, and it's true for all of them. I didn't give all of them 5 stars like I predicted, but that is absolutely fine. I'm very picky when it comes to my 5-star reads. I have to have that 5-star feeling. If I don't feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and I just don't get that feeling, I don't rate it 5 stars. But a 4-star for me still means absolutely loved it. I know everyone rates books differently, but for me, a 5-star is very, very hard to get. You have to have written an absolutely remarkable book that will stay with me forever to get a 5 stars. Whereas a 4-star is a book that I still absolutely loved. I just didn't get that 5-star feeling. 2 out of the 3 books were only 4 stars, but still I don't think they're bad. They were still absolutely brilliant. I still loved all of them. It's just that's my reasoning of the 5 stars. My camera is currently flashing at me, so I don't know how much I will be able to actually tell you about this before my camera dies, but I'll give it my best shot. It's an adult contemporary about a girl called April who has been sexually abused. So if this is a trigger for you, a sensitive topic, avoid this book like the plague. This book will not be for you. It's very, very heavily focused on sexual assault as a topic. So avoid it, or even leave this video if it's going to trigger just talking about it. I'd rather your mental health come first than reading a book for sure. But if you don't mind reading this topic, I think it's a really, really important book to read. It discusses that topic exceptionally well, personally I feel, but I think the way Holly Bourne wrote about it was absolutely incredible. I adored the writing in this. I couldn't stop turning the page. However, on the contrary to that, it took me ages to get into this book. I would say about the 200-page mark was when I really started to be invested in the story and the characters and want to continually turn the page. The first half of this book, I would say, were quite slow for me. It took me a while to get into the story and to understand where the plot was going. But after I hit that mark, I just couldn't stop. I needed to know what happened. I needed to see where the characters ended up. That was a tangent, but this book is basically about a girl called April who has been sexually abused in the past and is really struggling to trust men. And it really explores April as a character who's trying to come to terms with life after her abuse and coming out of a relationship that's very abusive. The female friendships in this were just so empowering, and the way Holly Bourne wrote about April as a character is just, I can't really fault it. That's why I'm struggling so hard to kind of rate this book. I have settled obviously on a 4-star, but this is why I'm finding it really hard to rate this book accurately, I feel like, because I can't fault this book. There was nothing wrong with it at all. So if I'm talking about an objective perspective, it would be a 5 stars. It's a book that I would recommend to a majority of people if this book would benefit them, obviously if it's not triggering for them. But for me personally, it just didn't get that 5-star feeling, as I said. So that's why I'm kind of in a bit of a turmoil about how to rate this book, because I can't physically point out any issues with it, any faults with it. So therefore it should be a 5 stars, but I didn't get that 5-star feeling, which is so frustrating. I think it's a thinker for sure. It's not a cute fluffy romance like Head Over Heels. It's not a romance heavy book like After I Do, which hits some serious topics. This is a serious book that hits hard topics, and I think it's just a book that everyone should read if they can. I don't know, I could ramble about how good this book was. Why didn't I give it a 5 stars? I don't know. But without... Okay, my battery died, but I'm now back to watch Emily's thoughts and feelings on Pretending by Holly Bourne. I can't remember what I said because I had to wait for my camera battery to charge, because I'm one of those newbie booktubers that only have one battery for their camera, so I have to wait for it to charge when it dies, and then shit happens. Let's watch Emily's video and see what she thought of Pretending by Holly Bourne, and I'll see if I agree or disagree. I'm sure I will agree because it's Emily, but let's go.
Was a woman that is trying to find romance again following sexual trauma. Not the trauma itself, not the actual event at the time it happens, but then women that are then trying to kind of rebuild their view on romance and have a healthy relationship following that. I felt that the female friendships and relationships in here were really strong. I love reading about healthy friendships where people are just mutually supportive of each other. There was a scene where April had to tell Megan, her flatmate, everything that had happened and how she was pretending to be someone else, and instead of it being this really...
Yeah, so context there, I didn't really explain it very well in the last clip, but this book follows April after she's been in a sexual abusive relationship, and she's trying to come to terms with that and how she should act and kind of get over it. And as she progresses throughout the story, she realises that she can't kind of get over it and she has to deal with it, and she's not the same person that she was. But during that journey, she discovers that she thinks she needs to be someone else, and she kind of creates this persona of Gretel, who is this imaginary person that she thinks all men absolutely love. She's perfect, she can't do anything wrong. She is this like ultimate dream that doesn't exist, but April thinks that she can be her and become her and make guys fall in love with her again, because she's struggling with relationships. No guy seems to want to stay with her after her previous relationship, and she uses this facade of Gretel to keep guys at a distance because she thinks every guy is like her previous relationships and that are abusive. So she's really just... she creates Gretel as a coping mechanism, basically, to help her. And she soon realises that Gretel isn't what every guy wants, and April is enough. And it's just a beautiful story, and I love it. But it was so interesting, so I went into this book knowing absolutely nothing, not even knowing why the book was called Pretending. And obviously now I do know why it's called Pretending. It's because April was pretending to be Gretel, pretending to be someone who she wasn't, to try and win the hearts of guys.
I just think this was a really well written, in-depth look at sexual trauma and how it affects women. And one of the chapters towards the end is kind of like a juxtaposition to the first chapter, where it's titled I Hate Men, and it's her saying,
I hate
let me
some
find
men.
it, let me find
Emily can't find it, but it's I hate
it's
some
I
men.
hate
I've got
some
you,
men.
Emily.
And then she's like, kind of develops her opinion, and the first chapter is kind of revisited, and I really like that as well. I just really like this book. I think the ending could have gone one of two ways, and I would have been happy with either way. I don't think the ending was the most important part of the book. It was more the journey, and I love books like that. So really glad I read this, really glad I vlogged it so that I can always go back and revisit the emotions I had when reading this book. Please let me know if you like Holly Bourne. Please let me know.
So those are Emily's thoughts on Pretending by Holly Bourne. She obviously loved it, and I loved it too. I just obviously, like I said, didn't get that 5-star feeling, which is fine, but we agree, like always, on absolutely everything. The strong female bonds, the character arc of April, the way that the writing and the story was told by Holly Bourne, tick, 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 everything was phenomenal. I can't fault it, it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. So that kind of comes to the end of this, I was going to say weekly reading vlog, far from it. It's more like a 2-week reading vlog. But I did manage to finish all these 3 books, which are 3 of Emily's favourite books of all time. And I'm so glad I got to read them all, because I did really enjoy all 3 of them. Only, obviously, Head Over Heels got the full 5 stars, but I would recommend all 3 of these books if you're looking for a character-driven, issue-based romance. Highly recommend all 3 of these books if any of those seem interesting to you. Obviously, if you're for trigger warnings for Pretending, as well as Head Over Heels. Like, I had similar reading taste to Emily, obviously, before. That's why I've done this video, but it kind of shows me that I am definitely veering out of YA. I have enjoyed reading 3 adult books this couple of weeks so much more than YA, I think now. I think YA is just getting a little bit too immature for me in some ways. Obviously, some YAs are still brilliant, but I definitely think I need to start veering towards more adult books for sure. And these 3 have definitely shown me why I love adult books. All of them were written so well, really hit some amazing topics, and didn't have any of those petty, stupid things that YA books have, like miscommunication. I am definitely going to be picking up some more adult books now. It's definitely a genre I need to get more into. I think I'm just growing out of YA, which is absolutely fine, but I appreciate Emily for kind of opening my eyes to that and allowing me to read 3 adults. Obviously, Head Over Heels, I think, has to be my favourite of the week. I can't really tier rank them, but if I had to, I think it'd be Head Over Heels, Pretending, and then After I Do. But I loved all 3 of them. I can't really fault any of them. So, yeah. Like I said, go check out Emily if you haven't already. She's brilliant. She's just incredible. She can talk about books in such a more articulated way. Like I can't. I just ramble and say this book's amazing and that you should read it. Whereas Emily really gets into her thoughts and really explains them in a better way than I do. So you should all just go follow Emily because she's brilliant. And I love her channel and she has some incredible book recommendations. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to more content from me. I like reading vlogs because I always theme reading vlogs. I don't just do 10 general weekly reading vlogs. I do 24-hour reading vlogs where I have to read books set in 24 hours across 24 hours. I do really fun TBR games. I have one really exciting coming up this week because it's all Christmassy themed. I would show you, but I have a tinsel on my bookcase, which is very, very exciting. So yeah, subscribe for more content from me. And I will see you in my next video, which will be my December TBR. Very, very exciting. Check the description box for everything I've mentioned in this video. Emily's channel, all the books, all the trigger warnings and reviews. I'll link them all down below for you so you're very well versed in all 3 of these books. And I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.